The importance of boundaries in dating, relationships, and in life. Hi everyone, I'm Apollonia Ponti. I am your dating, relationship, and life coach, and I am the founder of ApolloniaPonti.com. I am your coach for you men to master your attraction skills, build the confidence, and overall the life that you want, and create that life of happiness. And in today's video, we are going to talk about boundaries, and this is something that has been highly requested from clients that I've worked with and from a lot of my YouTube subscribers. If this is your first time visiting, I welcome you to my community. I welcome you to click that subscribe button so you can get up-to-date dating, relationship, and life advice. And we are going to go straight into it. Now, I want to define first what boundaries are and why they are so important, okay? And I want to talk to a couple of you people. So the entrepreneur, or the person that doesn't have kids, or the person that has kids, okay? So for example, or the person that has a job, doesn't matter. And for example, if we didn't have rules in our job, if we didn't have rules for our employees, how would they know where they can go? Because we would just take advantage of it. We would leave our job at 3 p.m. probably and just accept the paycheck. Or our employees would have no direction, and then our goals, our checklist, what we needed for us to be successful wouldn't be created if those boundaries weren't in place in that field. Let's talk about kids. We have rules, they have chores, they have things that they need to do. Those are boundaries, those are foundational things so they know that they don't get in trouble, so we can raise them to be the better child or the better person in their life, right? So then we're going to talk about boundaries in relationships. Now I want you to picture a building. We're building a building. And before we build this high-rise building with 54 floors, let's just say, there has to be a foundation. Your foundation has to be solid in order for that building to lay solid and for people to live in it so it doesn't fall down, right? So the foundation is the most important piece, because if we don't build a solid foundation, which is your boundaries when we're talking about a relationship, then eventually that building is going to come crashing down. So what foundation is it that you want to build? And that's where boundaries are implied. And I'm going to tell you how to do this and how to create boundaries and how to know what your boundaries are in this video. But that's the definition of boundaries, because if we don't have those boundaries, then our building and our world and our relationships are just going to be coming and crashing and falling apart. So this is why it's so important and substantial, not only in relationships, but in life. Because if you don't treat yourself the way that you want to be treated, then other people are not going to know how to treat you. And this comes with respect, self-dignity. And this comes a lot too, what I've noticed in a lot of my clients and when we've worked with them and created boundaries and now they're fulfilled and they understand. But a lot of times this happens and this question comes along if you are someone that always says yes to things. You have this people pleaser mentality because you're raised to do well and do good for others. But even though that's a great thing, you can't forget about yourself in turn. So now let's talk about when boundaries start to come into place. They start to come into place when you understand yourself, okay? We got to get clear on who you are and what you want from life. So if you are wanting to set boundaries in a relationship or understand what boundaries that you can't be crossed in when you're dating a girl that you might like, let's just say. So for example, let's take your past relationship. Let's take, I don't know, Billy's past relationship. Let's just call him Billy, I don't know. And Billy has dated this girl before a year ago, and he noticed that she was giving him the ring around the rosy, right? Like really not committing to him. And she was always a damsel in distress, always needed him, always reached out to him when she needed something, needed affection, needed attention, or something was wrong. And maybe she needed money too, and that's when she reached out to him. Okay, so one of your boundaries now, because this was a lesson you learned, should be, because this didn't work for you and this didn't empower you, this didn't make you feel good, should be that you want someone and you want a woman that's devoted to her personal growth, and you want a woman that is also devoted and stable and has come from a common ground of being able to acknowledge and bring herself up, and also being able to create a life that she likes or is on the path of creating that. Do you understand what I mean here? So this is how you get clear on your boundaries, is you also can reflect on what didn't work with you before. So one of the things that I have my clients do is an activity I'm going to share with you. And this is how, one of the ways that you can get clear in this video. Now, either if you have a pen and paper, grab it now, and if not, come back to this video if you're driving. I want you to really write this down. the first question you're going to ask yourself is, what do you want from a relationship? Well, I want respect. Okay, but what does respect mean? Because respect can mean something different, right, to me, and it can mean something different to you. So you're going to write down the what. What does respect mean? Okay, and then how you're respectable in your life with other people and things like that. Okay, and that's how you're going to get clear on what exactly pinpoints the definition of respect, which will also be a boundary. So the next question would be, how can you create this in your life? Okay, well, now you already know the definition of what you want. So what is opposite of that? And that's exactly how you create the boundary in regards to yourself. And you live by that. And when it happens with women, you know what this means. You're clear because you've already done this. You've already figured this out. And you know being assertive is the way to be because she's crossed the boundary, and letting her know why she crossed it, how she crossed it, and why it's not aligned with you. And then another thing is, before we go into some tips on how to create boundaries, I want you to be honest with yourself and don't compare yourself, because comparison is the root of all evil. I always say this. And don't be afraid to be unique. Just because of the fact that you are somebody that likes to stay home and you like to invest in yourself and you're not somebody that always goes out to nightclubs, doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. Or if you're a guy that really looks for relationships and doesn't want to have flings and doesn't want to have one-night stands like every other guy, doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. Or if there's a guy that just wants to have fun and have one-night stands and blah, 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 doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. So stop comparing yourself to other people, because when we compare ourselves, it's the root of all evil, and we start to compare, we start to judge, we start to get self-conscious, and then we do not stay in line with our boundaries. You see the domino effect here, guys? Now let's go into tip number 1, is understand that you have to have self-belief within yourself. You have to be courageous, and you have to understand that when you are, something will develop on the other side. And by doing this, you understand that something there on the other side must be attained. What does this mean? Okay. When we start to get clear on our boundaries, we know our values, and then we start to have standards for ourselves. So we are in self-belief within ourselves that we can do this because we hold ourselves to a certain standard. So if we hold ourselves to the standard, we have the potential to lead someone else into that standard, and we can attract someone else into that standard, right? So for example, let's just say as a woman, if I was dating right now and I was looking for a relationship, one of the biggest things that I would look for in a man, number 1, is a man on a purpose. Okay. And if I dated a guy and he wasn't on a purpose and he hated life and he was kind of negative, one of my boundaries would be broken, because that's the standard that I have for myself, and that's what I want. That's what I want. I want someone to lift me, right, in that moment. So that's how you get clear, and you don't come from a place of lack, and you have more self-belief within yourself of what those boundaries should look like. Tip number 2, you have to have a hard conversation with yourself. And the hard conversation that you have to have with yourself, if you're someone that has a difficult time placing boundaries, is, are you going to let someone else take control of you, or are you going to take control before it's too late? Because what happens a lot of times is we get in relationships and our boundaries continue to get crossed, and we're devalued, cross, devalued, cross, devalued, cross, devalued, cross, devalued. Now we're the bottom of the building, how we started this video, and the foundation is not solid. And we've hit rock bottom, and our partner doesn't respect us. But we start to blame our partner for not respecting us, when, like I say in so many of my videos, you are in control of everything in your life, and you don't take accountability for what you've created. And it's because you've allowed this behavior of disrespect, you've allowed yourself to not have boundaries, so you've allowed someone else to take control of your behaviors. So I ask you, are you wanting to take control? You can take all of these tips and hear this video and say, I'm going to place boundaries, Apollonia. Okay, if you're going to place boundaries, put them into action. This is where the true results come. I can't go through this lens and do this video and hold your hand through everything in life, but I can give you guidance, I can give you tools, I can give you tips, and it's about you using these tools and tips that will make your life change. And tip number 3. You cannot look at life as though life is against you. Gosh, this is so important, because there's so many people out there that are looking at life like life is against them. And when you look at life like this, than it is against you. Because as beings in this world, we are all energy created. You didn't land on this channel just because of an algorithm. No, you landed on this channel because you're supposed to be here, because the algorithm also reported possibly what you need to hear in your life or what you're searching for, right? There's plenty of people that have the same YouTube topics, I'm sure, but you're here for a reason. And you have to understand that everything is created within energy. So with that said, when you understand this, life starts working for you. And the more you understand that things, people, life aren't against you, and you take accountability for your own actions, and you start getting out of the victim mentality and start being forceful, disciplined, and dominant in your own life and responsible for your interactions and your reactions and your actions towards other people, other things. And the way you show up is the way that you're going to gain control. And I can guarantee you when you do this, it's going to be easier for you to place boundaries because you are going to know who you are as a person. You're going to be more powerful. You're going to be more confident. You're going to be more in control, and you're going to be more clear. And lastly is my final tip of them all. Tip number 4 is we live in a world that is willing to help people that are willing to help themselves. Let me say this again. We live in a world that is willing to help people, but only the people that are willing to help themselves. So this goes back to what I'm saying in regards to control. No one is going to do the work for you. Life starts happening for you when you start doing the work. What a lot of us start to do is we start to be in our own bubble. We start to believe our negative thoughts. We start to believe that everything is against us, and then life is happening to us, and then we don't take control. But if you're ready to help yourself, and you're ready to make a change, and you're ready to place boundaries in your relationship, then you know what those boundaries are in here. I can't tell you what those boundaries are. One of the boundaries I can tell you is you might as well make sure that you are respected just as much as you should respect a partner. But everybody has different boundaries in relationships. And I'm sick of people saying, oh, this should be a boundary, giving advice and surface level advice. This is real advice. If you want to have solitude in your life and want to find love or get good with women or be happy, whatever that is, this is where it starts, guys. You have to own your shit, basically, in order for you to do the work. So part of owning it is being disciplined, being real, and taking accountability and moving forward to action. And it's not supposed to be easy. Nothing in this world is supposed to be easy. Do you think money is handed to you in a silver platter? No. Think about it. Everything in life you've had to work for. And where we fail is we don't work on our personal growth. So I challenge you to do that today and get clear on your boundaries and what those are by a lot of my activities that I said in this video. If you're looking for help in regards to this and getting clear and really getting what you want out of life, I encourage you to book a coaching session with me. You can book a one-on-one session with me or anyone on my team, and we can help you get there. And as always, I always have something for you. It's my 7 Common Mistakes ebook that men make when attracting women. And I encourage you to download that, as that's below in the description box. As always, I welcome your comments, and I'll see you again in the next video. And remember, you are always loved. Bye for now.